Councilman Howard. We'll give our prayer.
Father in heaven, thank you for another great day here on earth to be alive. Thank you for your daily blessings on all of us here and for all the good health we enjoy. We ask your guidance for us as councilmen and women that we do the right in your eyes as we try to keep making this great city a great place to live and work. Thank you to and bless all those who serve us in this great country of ours. We ask all this through continued blessings in your Son's name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. You to remain standing. We'll do the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and do roll call.
Allers,
Present.
Deacon,
Present.
Hensley,
Present.
Lester, Neely,
Present.
Schwartz,
Here.
Spencer,
Here.
Spicer, Wiseman,
Present.
Wright.
Present.
Okay. And as announced in the pre-meeting, but welcome to our interim city administrator. First day on the job. So thank you very much, Chief Schofield, for stepping up. And Mr. Melvin, thank you very much for all the work that you did in the interim. A lot of hats that you were wearing. So thank you very much. I think everything moved very smoothly. So we appreciate it.
Happy to serve.
All right, that takes us to item 3, adoption of the agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda.
Thank you.
My second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. I don't think we have any miscellaneous items. No public hearings. Appointments by the mayor. Councilwoman Wiseman.
Mayor, I'd like to remove the appointment of Dottie Sanning and move that back to Administration Committee for their consideration and for vetting.
So your motion would adopt everything but that one name and send that name back to the committee?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have a second for that? I'll second that. All right, Councilman Mueller. Discussion. Councilman Allers.
Councilman Wiseman, that'll be for the August meeting. Is that where we'll look at things over again and kind of go over?
I think so.
Review.
That or July, depending on what we have to do in the next coming months. So yes.
And I think all of them on there are majority votes except for one, so. So no further discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Presentations from staff and consultants. Ms. Perry, financial report.
Thank you, Mayor. So the first page that you have in your financial report is starting with the revenue model. This will indicate at this point that we are projected over budget in the general fund by $1,187,774. Of that, a majority of it is the overage in the sales tax at $500,887. We do have a couple of categories, specifically fees and licenses, that are under budget. And if you go to the second page, it starts the detail of that information. As we've talked about before, the building construction fees are the significant underage in that category. And I'd really be happy to answer any questions that anyone has on that revenue model, if there are any.
Any questions?
Next report that you have is the sales tax report. This will be the collections in May of 2023. In the general fund, the collections of $1,016,572 were $75,356 over budget for the time frame. that has an overage for the fiscal year to date of $500,887, which is again the number you saw on the very first page of the reports in the packet. If you look at capital improvement, the park sales tax, and also the public safety tax, all of those were over projections for the month, and all of them are currently over the projections for year to date as well. Pages behind that are the individual taxes, and you can see what the collections were by month and kind of where we're falling for each of those particular time frames. The last page of the packet is the fund balance report, and I did pass out an updated page to you this evening when I came in. That is actually audited numbers for FY22. I finished that and posted it right before I came in here. There are some changes there that I'll need to talk to the wastewater fund about and Mr. DeFoy, but they are easily in the city's favor. So in this particular report with the general fund, the audited fund balance unassigned number at the end of 22 is $8,195,657. Taking out all of the reappropriations that happened from 22 to 23, and the fact that we haven't had any supplemental appropriations so far in fiscal year FY22, that's going to leave an estimated unassigned fund balance at the end of 23 of $6,010,713, or a 15.82% fund balance percentage, which is higher than we've discussed previously, but is not at the 17% mark that we have in our financial reports, or in our financial policies, sorry. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Ms. Perry? Councilman Hensley?
Sheila, I know the answer to this, but on the expenditure side, are we generally on track across the board with budgeted expenditures for?
Yes, there are a few areas of concern that I'm working with staff on right now that we're trying to clean up some over budget accounts. They would be a variety of things that we've talked about in Finance Committee. Nothing really at this point to bring forward to council as we try and clean those up.
But across categories, across the entire budget, we're generally on track.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
And those reports are part of the finance packet. We don't talk about them here, but they are available online in our financial reports packet.
I know there was a fairly extensive media report yesterday that looked very positive. I know they quoted, so appreciate all the work that you do to keep us on track.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Move on to announcements. Admin Committee.
Our meeting for this upcoming month has been canceled, and so we'll reassess at the end of the month for next month.
All right. Finance?
Yeah, so next Monday night, right from right now on the 12th, we're going to have a budget committee strategy session, which is, I think, just sort of an initial meeting about expectations and processes and maybe some preferences. It was not originally my idea, but the folks who brought it to me explained it, and I thought it sounded like a good change to make for this year. So I think we'll abide by the normal hour and a half work session limit. I'd be a little surprised if we make it that long. But that'll be next Monday night in this room. I believe it's at 5:30.
Yeah.
And if other folks interested in it would care to make some comments as well, that'd be fine.
Well, I appreciate Councilman Hensley being willing to take a look at this being my first year. I know it's called the mayor's budget, but it's council's budget. And it just seemed, as I talked to Ms. Perry and Mr. Holman, that it made sense to pull council into those discussions much earlier. So hopefully it won't be as painful as last year. So that's kind of the intent, talking about vision for the city, what we anticipate, where we want to focus dollars, and hopefully get to that process a little more efficiently for our community, but certainly more efficiently for the council. So I appreciate you spending it's probably an extra day on the front side, but maybe we'll save some days on the final part of the process. So come prepared just to kind of talk about vision and strategy and just kind of an overall discussion. But hopefully we can bring, certainly the chief will be a very important part of that process, and obviously Chief will do from the police perspective. But we do want input into it, and I think we're going to get to better numbers for the first go around if we're all on the same page. So I appreciate you kind of buying into that concept.
Absolutely. Thanks for the idea.
Public safety, I believe Councilman Spencer.
Yes, speaking on behalf of Chairman Spicer, we will be meeting June 29th at 7:30 at the PD training room.
And Public Works.
Public Works will meet this week, June 8th at 7:30 here in the council chambers.
I guess the one announcement that I would report, we've got Salute to America coming up on July 4th. I think we've got a good committee planning for a one-day event this year, but it should be an action-packed, so hope to see everybody downtown. Parade's at 11, activities all afternoon, concerts, and then of course the fireworks, I think at 9:45, so July 4th should be a great day in our city. Anything else? Jumping to item 9, presentations from the gallery. We do have
Kylie Floodman with Bird Scooters, I believe, is on the line. There she is.
How are you? Welcome. appreciate you joining with us. Are there questions or comments? Councilman Spencer.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Just a couple questions. You said that you have the ability to geofence some areas. Do you have the ability to have docking stations, for lack of a better term, to where they have to go back to, certain docking stations within the area they're allowed to permit? That's the biggest complaint I'm hearing from a lot of our citizens, is that they're outside the zone, if you will. They're on the streets. They're in the street. They're in people's yards. They're blocking driveways. So, if there's a way we could get it to where they have to dock at a certain place, or they're charged more if they have that ability. So, and another complaint or concern I have is that the younger folks are able to jailbreak some of these scooters now, and maybe there's been a software upgrade or something, I don't know, but there is a YouTube video out there that shows how this can be done. So
Yes, so to address the first one, which is the jailbreaking, with our newer generation vehicles, sometimes you have to make extremely tough to do. You're mentioning this YouTube video, so we'll do my due diligence in looking and see what that is. That was possible with our older generation vehicles. Jefferson City has one of the newest and greatest, which is why we can provide some more of the technological tools I mentioned, such as geofencing or parking locations that I can do. With that said, we are able to identify if that's happening, and we can ban horses for users. We don't want people utilizing scooters that are going to do so in this matter to then, have credit for greater good. So, happy to dive into that. With regards to parking, so the general sentiment of mobility is that it will be less model, so they intended to move from point A to point B. That said, we also get in cities, there are certain areas in High Street that is really adequately traffic by pedestrians, a lot of businesses. We can basically have like virtual parking solutions in place. And this looks a couple of different ways. Some of it is mandatory, meaning if you don't park in that location, you will not be able to enter your ride. Kind of goes along with the taxi meter, just keep driving you until you get to that place. We can do incentivized parking locations that we have recommended for a discounted ride. And then we have a newer solution that we talked to, which is called VPS, virtual parking solution, which essentially uses Google Street AI view, and it's completely more accurate. So, short answer: physical locations, no. Virtual locations, yes. That's really speaking to that partnership. We need to understand what is of high concern. This should always be able to do this. The beauty of it being very technology based, it's very flexible. So if something's not working, we can adapt it. If it's something that needs to be in place for summer and it's a little more restrictive, it can really be flexible based on the needs of the city. And we're about to keep moving forward 1 and 2 years as a little bit more time to figure out what we can constituent here.
and a follow up real quick is that I've seen the same scooters in the ward I represent for over a week. They're not being picked up, and that's another issue that we're having in the neighborhoods as well, and even in the uptown downtown districts. So that is a concern as well.
I apologize. That's something that we address our manager, who's actually the local person that we are contacting rebalance solutions, bring them back, the counties are making APS a little bit more strict. I agree with you that she works in residential areas at a time. They just review the residents. Honestly, as a business, either they're on areas with your guys. Our goal is really on local lines here. It's just obviously need to give it more fun.
Thank you for your time.
Other questions, comments? Councilman Allers.
What are the hours of operation on those from what time a.m. to what time p.m.? Will they cease to cease to operate?
Our standard operating hours are 4 a.m. to midnight, and that can be adjusted as you know. That said, we see a lot of value for mobility to also be allowed time. That said, certain areas like we generally see underage riders taking advantage of, and it is unclear what's doing right. That's the piece of running additional protections for operations that still allow for people to use those that are utilizing it in a responsible way. I immediately speak about turning that off, flushing out the underage riders. We can do slow zones in areas that utilize more regularly at later times of the night. And outside of that, we do want to ideally keep them access to people that are utilizing it. Speaking from a perspective, I love using my mobility at night as I'm walking around. I think I'm walking around the city rather than being on a 50-mile-per-hour speeder. I'm a little skipper and getting around town apparently. Being able to really have that access to what we find is really important. And oftentimes I like that for the way that we operate as well.
And the age limit is 18. Am I right? Is that where it's supposed to be?
Correct.
Because I see some kids on them, so I'm just wondering how they do that.
Yeah, so generally we only offer 19 year vacation turn on to our kids. It's not our standard. That said, our rider agreement is 18 years or older. It's very clear, so if anyone agrees to our rider agreement, has to have to agree to that aspect as well. That said, speaking with Ryan Bowman and Mayor Water a couple weeks ago, we understood underage riding was a really big concern right now. So we actually that ID verification on to basically hopefully wipe out all the underage riders that don't actually have the verification there, and it's staying through a third-party system that we use. That said, if you want to caveat, just like just anything, you do see instances of patrons uploading their own IDs. Same way they probably upload their credit cards for their kid to use as well, so we can't catch everybody. But our goal is hopefully to make it real time for rider agreement and have decrease instances of underage riding there.
Thank you.
Councilman Schwartz.
According to your, you said you had ID verification that you have recently turned on. Why? That doesn't seem like it would be best practice to turn that on immediately.
You're saying it doesn't, but you
No.
need to turn it on.
Yeah, but I'm asking why it wasn't on when you put it here.
Yeah, so we'll turn it on from an equity perspective. Our goal is also to make sure that we're an equitable form of transportation for people that might not have a car. Certain communities that might be underprivileged might not have a driver's license. Hopefully they have an ID, but you never know. And then also kind of with general operations managers. He's in Texas, he sometimes renew his ID for, I won't quote me on this, but for a while he can get included in his 50s, and I have to write his closer to 50s. He actually doesn't get pushed through our system because of the local laws that he has. So we don't turn it on nationwide. We don't want to eliminate people that might be actually need to utilize this permit for these pieces of not having proper identification. That said, we understand that there are instances where the potential negative impacts of not having a turn on can outweigh the intended effect, which is why we heard those concerns. We immediately turned it on and we
Let me run you through a hypothetical situation, one that will eventually happen downtown High Street in Jefferson City because there is no bike lane. You're not allowed to ride them on sidewalks. At least you're not supposed to, according to the license agreement. Kids are using them that are under 18. So, kid A takes one of these, gets on it. Somebody opens their door on High Street. They plow into the door, tear up somebody's car. Who's responsible at that point?
I don't quote me on this, but we fully indemnify the cities, and our riders will be responsible if the neighbor is doing that. Obviously, you have to go through our legal teams, probably the cities, not individuals, but we're fully indemnified, and then the riders have liability to agree with our rider agreement. I would say probably it would depend. So if you're talking about someone's riding on cycle, a personal scooter, e-bike, or regular bike, riding along one of the streets, and they were going, 15, 20 miles per hour, and they have the same situation. It just probably depends in terms of who was at fault and kind of what was going on, were they actually going the speed that they were supposed to, all those kind of nuances. And so I understand that
question. If a child, somebody younger than 18 is on one of these, they're not going to have insurance. And so, while you said the rider might be responsible or liable, that rider's not going to have insurance. So then, who is liable from a financial perspective?
I get back to you on that, but I imagine it's whoever is writing, whoever signed them up for an account, would agree to our line agreement, would like be responsible. So you have to tell them if you're willing to give your child your credit card and ID in order to write.
Are you aware of any other service where there's an age limit requirement that the business doesn't have some sort of responsibility to check for ID?
I would say when you get in the car, obviously it's supposed to be 16. Everybody is doing so. I mean, the entire micromobility industry, where if you were to be on an e-bike or a city bike, so to say, a lot of times you don't even put an ID. I would say we understand that that's a concern, and that's what we have proactively. But I mean, we're happy to do this periodically too. That's not to say that at one time, you know, we have no operations team turn on and we would never do it again. Again, that's my goal is to really partner with the city and understand really what's the best of doing that.
But with the driver's license, you have to present a birth certificate, social security card, and a DMV to get your license. So you're presenting a form of ID to somebody that says I am this age in order to get your license.
Yeah, it's a third party that we that takes. So it's not part of your login to third party that we utilize to actually take accountability.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Councilman Mealy. Go ahead.
point of clarification, in the license agreement, it's actually 4 a.m. to 11 here in Jefferson City.
Okay, Mr. Walden. Okay, thanks. Anything else? We appreciate you being with us. Thank you very much. The bill will come up for discussion a little bit later, but we appreciate you being with us. All right. Item 10, consent agenda. There's 4 items on there.
Mayor, I move to approve.
Second.
Your motion is second. All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item 11, bills introduced 2023-014.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Donaldson Construction Company, LLC, in the amount of $314,244.17 for the 2023 micro.
Mr. Moran.
Thank you, Mayor. This is part of our overlay project group of projects. It's a microsurface contract. We've done this in the last several years, so we are focused on streets that are in decent condition. They may be low volume, things like that, but we're trying to keep those streets in those good conditions. So without a full overlay, this helps us reduce the cost of that treatment, and be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments? All right. 2023-015.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the 2022-2023 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by appropriating additional funds within the wastewater enterprise fund.
Mr. Moraes.
Thank you. So this would appropriate from our fund balance in wastewater $1.5 million. That fund balance is approximately $3.8 million. So that leaves us a little over $2 million in that fund balance, well above our 10% goal for these type funds. The money would be used for capital improvement projects within wastewater. We have 2 identified right now, one over on St. Mary's Boulevard, and then another one in the Westview area that we're teaming up with Cole County to work on a sewer while they do some street and stormwater work there. Be happy to answer any questions. That money would come from the wastewater fund.
All right. Item C, 2023-016.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Aplex Incorporated in the amount of $536,945.00 for the Air Street Southwest Phase 2 and sanitary sewer project.
Moraes.
Thank you. Another construction contract. This is with Aplex. They've done work for the city in the past and always done a good job for us. The contracts, like the clerk indicated, a little over $500,000, and it does both stormwater and wastewater work. The wastewater work's about $125,000 component of that. The remainder would work on the stormwater in that area, as well as some street work that goes along with that. This is near Bel Air School, for those unfamiliar with the area, of the name of the streets. It's about a 6-month project to get this done. It's actually a phase 2 project. We worked several years ago now, starting that project down by the creek and working up the hill. So this would complete that area.
All right. Item D, 2023-017.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, terminating a license agreement with Bird Rides Incorporated for a shared active transportation operation.
Mr. Mulder.
Thank you. This bill would terminate the agreement with Bird Rides Incorporated for the shared active transportation services that they currently provide on the city's rights of way. Heard from Ms. Floodman. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Councilwoman Wiseman?
Yeah. So I have concerns that there are low income and people who are using this, as well as people who are using for commuting to work, and I believe that's shown on our exhibit here that's tied to this. Do we have better information about people who are utilizing this for commuting and what the standard for low income is? And I say that because, I mean, I would like to see us work with Bird if this is their major source of transportation. You know, people are utilizing that, you know, especially to get to work. I certainly have my own clients who don't have a driver's license or a vehicle sometimes, and so that would be helpful.
Yeah, so the city has a kind of information portal, and the information that we have is generally reflected in here. We have raw numbers, so I would have to direct questions on what constitutes low income and kind of any more detail to Bird directly. I do believe Ms. Floodman is still on the line.
Hi there. Yes. We'll put together a review over the year to data only resident hours, density, etc. We'll also add community data and local data and real time income data. This is that we track and I appreciate pointing that out because that is also a huge aspect of what we do and also being able to manage to be under both the transportation for the city, the transit, etc. So let me have this report just on your code right and then I'll share you that the rest of you.
Thank you.
Councilman Al.
It looks like a lot of the riderships in toward the east side of Jeff City in the first ward, just by trying to gauge at these two pictures we have here. And I was just kind of as curious of what timing that was used in the first ward, and if those are actually commuters or, you know, what time of the day those would be at. Because it does look like the majority of it's, let's say from City Hall further east. So that would be good information. It probably would be people commuting back and forth from as far as maybe Scholastic back into Jeff City or out to Scholastic area and all that.
Councilman Hensley and then Councilman Wright.
Thank you. I'm just looking at the second page of the three in our packet. At the top, the ride start heat map and the ride end heat map. And I'm trying to zoom in. I mean, these look practically identical to me. I'm just wondering if someone, this is an extremely basic question, if someone can explain what each of these two things is trying to tell us. And I mean, is it simply that people are making round trips with them and essentially starting back where they are, ending up back where they started, or are these actually exactly the same map? I don't know.
I know what you're looking at, but I do have likely the up-to-date version of the ones that you're looking at. You know, what I said here, they do look very similar. To your point on the east side of the city, obviously they're concentrated, but they probably are round trips. And I remember someone told me how stock, so to say, really to be a first mile last mile solution and really take you from point A to point B. If you are using it to commute or not as your primary source of transportation, at some point in the day, like right start will eventually become your right end. And so, like I said, I'll also more in-depth information right and dates and times. But just giving it a look here really is a round trip, not necessarily in one particular office. I mean, Jefferson City is about 20 minutes.
Thank you.
28 minutes.
Any other question? Oh, that's right. Councilman Wright.
Actually, a question to staff and to Ms. Floodman. Complaints. I'd like to know if you could share with us if you have recorded a number of complaints from citizens or anything of that nature. And same thing to Ms. Floodman. Do you collect data on complaints either from riders or non-riders that are complaining about your service?
So from my perspective at a staff level, and I would say probably a vast majority of complaints regarding the bird operation end up on my desk are related to parking. Either there's too many, I've actually had too few complaint once or twice, or kind of a random complaint of, hey, this scooter is parked in a dangerous or unusual situation. In fact, I had one parked at the bottom of the creek not too long ago. But it's I would say 90% of all the complaints that we get are parking related. Last year, I would say fall last year, we've been working with Bird in the downtown area to kind of eliminate the large concentrations of scooters at particular businesses. And I think those of you who are downtown more often than I am, kind of in the heart of downtown more often than I am, could try to answer the question. But I think there's definitely been less complaints in the last, call it, since last fall about kind of large concentrations of scooters, 20, 25 scooters all parked in the same space. I believe we were asking, last fall, can we kind of limit that to maybe, 5, max 10 in one space? And from my perspective, that has been mostly addressed. So it's almost exclusively parking related when they land on my desk.
Do you have any idea on the number of complaints that we've received?
Not enough to track. Anecdotally, I will get a dozen a year.
Ms. Flood?
Water, we have not received that many, and I've been great with pretty much all of our changes or trades requests to tell them to support it. If I think are very also in a particular get this site work improved and to be addressed. Just out of because I told the dogs here, definitely need to speak with our new manager about rebuilding time.
That would be good. Thank you. That's all.
Councilman Spencer and Councilman Schwartz.
Just a follow-up. If we terminate the contract, it says in this document here, the city would be foregoing this revenue by terminating the license agreement. So, can you explain that language to me?
Yeah, sure. So the city charges a business license fee to Bird, and that business license fee is a quarter per ride. So instead of like gross sales or a flat fee, it's a quarter per ride. And so every time someone starts a ride in Jefferson City, a quarter is paid to the city as part of Bird's business license fee. I believe that's directly passed on to the customer. Is how they do it, but that is a business license fee that is assessed on Bird.
How often do we receive those payments?
I believe monthly.
I think Bird payments come monthly.
Okay, so we wouldn't be foregoing what was collected previously.
So yeah, so what that note is meant to say, in the future we would not be receiving those.
Because I was asked that, and
yeah,
and I could see where that question was derived from, possibly with the language. Ms. Bloodman, could you explain also just with some of that data here of right? It says gives distance, it gives duration, commuter, and then low income and first ride. Is this just a snapshot of a month, or is this for the whole year? Or
So I can answer that question.
Okay.
So this is information that I pulled together off the city's information portal, and I believe this was just for a month. This was for
22 to 12. That's good. A question.
yeah. So this was April 19th to May 18th.
So what does the low income data, what is that telling us exactly?
I'd have to defer that to Ms. Farman.
Thank you.
When I look at this heat map, and this kind of goes to Councilman Jensen's comment about the heat map, the purplish, darker purple, the darker purple is directly over downtown, according to my map. And the reason is because these kids will get on there, and I've watched this in the last 6 months during session, and they ride around uptown, and they go down High Street, and down Madison or Adams, down Capitol, back up to High, and they're running a circle. And that's why you have almost an oval shape on the heat map in direct downtown. But if you look at it from where the bridge is to about the easternmost part of the purple is what I would consider greater downtown Jefferson City. And what you're seeing is the vast majority of riders are in that specific area. So I think that's a strong argument that these specific modes of transportation are not being used for indigent transportation because we don't have grocery stores, we don't really have doctor's offices, unless somebody's going to a lawyer very often or going to the Capitol or some other place. But I know, I've seen it with my own eyes. They get on them, they take them, they ignore traffic signals, they go through downtown, and that's exactly why you have the bright purple dot right over East High Street and Madison Street.
Did we have? Councilman Schwartz.
I think this is probably the best time to let the council know from my perspective, and I know this is Councilman Spencer's bill, just kind of how we do things, but if there is a way, if there is data that shows that indigent people use this to go to stores or doctor's appointments or to attorney meetings, whatever they're using it for, and we can geofence our downtown area that where we don't see the kids and the 20 scooters on our sidewalks and taking up parking spaces. We all know, we've had that discussion before about lack of parking downtown. Then I would be open to, some sort of a talk about that. But from my perspective, that's the reason why I kind of brought this idea forward, is because our downtown area is it's very busy from January to May. And it just wasn't, these modes of transportation were not being used in the manners to which they were sold to us by the company. I just got back from Washington, D.C. It's a huge city with a awful traffic problem, and I think there's a place and need and time for these modes of transportation in cities like that. I just don't see the need in ours, so I'll just close with that.
All right. Did we have someone in the audience who want to make a comment? You'll need to come to the podium and just state your name. Just right up there. It's got a microphone, so it'll pick you up.
Okay. I personally,
You just need to come up to the microphone. Just state your name, please.
To the podium. There you go.
my name is Jefferson Johnson. I am a tax-paying part of this city, and I am definitely against the scooters. I find them dangerous in many regards, and it's possible that we haven't had any accidents, but it's just waiting to happen. I do have some comments that it's supposed to be 18. We discussed that. It's supposed to be, but I imagine, contrary to what I'm hearing, a high percentage of these people are not 18. I'm not saying major, over 40, 50%. A high percentage are underage, I would suppose, by looks. We're supposed to have a driver's license. I know kids that are on them, have been on them, that haven't had a driver's license. We're supposed to obey the traffic laws. I very seldom see that. I don't know that I've ever seen a person stop at a red light. I've seen so many just trucking through, make right hand turn, make left hand turn. I'm just amazed. I find it to be a tripping hazard when there's so many parked on the sidewalk that is supposed to be for pedestrians. I view that as a pedestrian. They were there on the sidewalks. I'm very hopeful that they could hit somebody. I personally was going through downtown at a slow, cautious speed and had somebody come by and tap on my door. I didn't hear it. My wife heard it, but they were gone. I couldn't do anything about it. I have wondered about putting cameras on my car, just as a protective device, because I've seen some of these kids just be careless. I can't believe this. I happen to drive through downtown. I find it to be quite quaint and enjoyable. I think we have a beautiful downtown. I hate to see it as they're littered with these scooters too. I've thought about calling the police, but I haven't. So she may not have heard many complaints. I am complaining. And I've hated this for the last 2 years, and I haven't complained. So you have a lot of people that are not complaining, but they are out there. I can't believe that people, as this gentleman was saying earlier, that there's a loop. What I see is exactly that. We're going down High Street, they're making turns, they're straight through the traffic light, and they come back. So it doesn't surprise me saying. I'm not familiar with the map we're talking about. Let's see, about a year and a half ago, I just couldn't believe all this. So I followed a person that was coming out of Columbia. He was picking them up. I have no idea where they're located at that time. He said he was putting them on a trailer and picking them up and taking them to Columbia. I don't know if they would be recharged or whatever the case might be. And I followed him and I pulled beside him and questioned him about it. And he said, well, they haven't posted. And his whole thing was they haven't posted that it's supposed to be 18. It's not their responsibility. In fact, he said it's just like he said a gun manufacturer. This is what he said. A gun manufacturer, they can put all the things on it, but it's not their responsibility as to how they are used. So, contrary to what this young lady is saying to us, a year ago, let's see, and I've seen many times, several times anyway, where people are riding doubles. And I've seen even little smaller people riding behind or riding in front. I just thought and for the amount of money that we're getting, what I read in the paper anyway, for the amount of money that we're getting, this looks like a potential liability. In fact, the guy that I did follow at the time, like I said, about a year and a half ago, I apologize for nervous, but he said that, I don't know if this is true or not, but he told me that there was a person that was killed at that time in Columbia. I don't know if that's true or not, I didn't follow it up, or anything like that, but these are tripping hazards that I think that again, if somebody's just walking down the sidewalk, I'm surprised that there aren't people that aren't, if they're walking, they just take a side step and somebody could come and hit them. So I am opposed to it. So
We appreciate your comments.
thank you very much for your.
Yep, thank you. Anything else? Deacon.
The only comment I have about the safety aspect is I have a bigger problem with the bicycles taking the full lane, and they run more stop signs and stoplights than anybody I see. So bicycles are worse about running stoplights and stop signs. And who in the heck put them in the middle lane, I don't know. But that's another story. That's just a safety aspect. The scooters.
All right. Heard skaters going once. Twice. All right. That takes us to item 12, bills pending. Bill 2023-010.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Corrective Asphalt Materials in the amount of $101,290 for the 2023 street seal coating project.
Mr. Marish.
Thank you, Mayor. As clerk indicated, a seal coat project with Corrective Asphalt Materials is a companion bill to our overlay contracts. And what we tend to do with these is to seal the roads that were recently overlaid or microsurfaced to try seal any cracks that may have appeared since they were laid, and trying to keep good streets in good condition. If you haven't answered any questions.
Questions? All right. I'll need a roll call vote.
Allers,
Aye.
Deacon,
Aye.
Hensley,
Aye.
Lester, Mealy, Schwartz,
Aye.
Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer, Wiseman,
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right. Bill passes. Thank you very much. Item B, 2023-011.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, designating 1310 Moreland Avenue as a local historic landmark.
I think we're going straight to Ms. Senzi, or did
We
you
can
have
do that. I'll turn it over to Ms. Lindsay. She'll give a brief presentation on the landmark.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. My apologies. The presentation is not working tonight, so we'll have to follow along in your packet, if you will. The house at 1310 Moreland Avenue was built in 1927 by Dr. Louis Ott and George Wagner. Ott Wagner partnered to buy the Lincoln Farm, and this property was platted in 1916 to develop the Fairmount Place subdivision which included Moreland and El Marine Avenues, straight off of Moreland Drive. If you look at the pictures in your packet, the house itself is mission-inspired stucco with a side gabled roof and step parapets, which is quite unusual for a home in the Jefferson City area. The home is not a wood structure, but is instead built on a foundation that has 11-inch thick cement walls. Outside, which would also be a contributing outbuilding to the property, is a playhouse. There's a bridge over a dry creek bed that complements the back of the property. The playhouse repeats the design of the home. This property went before the Historic Preservation Commission at its May 2023 regular meeting and was unanimously approved by the commission. The property was eligible for criterion 1 through 9. Specifically, probably its most eligible criteria is its identification with a person or persons who significantly contributed to the development of the community, county, state, or nation. This property was the childhood home of Betty Goshorn Weldon. She lived at the property from 1947 to 1956. Her father was the owner of the News Tribune, and then she became the owner. She also started a television station, which is now known as KRCG, named after her father, and the initials K is anything west of the Mississippi, R Robert C. Goshorn. So that's where you get the KRCG from. As staff recommendation, that council approves the proposed landmark award designation for 1310 Moreland Avenue. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Questions? All right. Roll call vote.
Deacon?
Aye.
Hensley?
Aye.
Lester? Mealy? Schwartz?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer? Wiseman?
Aye.
Wright?
Aye.
Allers?
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, nothing on the informal calendar. Item 14, resolution 2023-8.
A resolution to execute a financial services agreement with Piper Sandler and Company.
Mr. Moraes.
Thank you. As clerk indicated, this is a financial service agreement. We've long used Piper Sandler for our bond counsel and advising us on those. Our next go around really is upcoming is the sewer bonds, some major sewer bonds. We're looking at SRF and regular market type bonds, and these folks would help us do that.
Questions? We'll need the motion to get for the resolution.
Make a motion that we approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hensley?
Aye.
Lester? Mealy? Schwartz? Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer? Wiseman?
Aye.
Wright?
Aye.
Allers?
Aye.
Deacon?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Great, thanks. Item B, resolution 2023-9.
A resolution authorizing a memorandum of understanding for joint Jefferson City Fire Department and Cole County EMS operations.
We have a team back here. Mr. Turner, you want to get us started?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This agreement is with the Cole County EMS. The fire department has continued to respond to EMS calls since 1997. This agreement pays the city $25,000. Some of the things that are included in this agreement is training, equipment replacement, and specifically the use of our paramedics if they meet the training requirements that are set forth by the EMS department. With me tonight is Chief Hoy. If you have any questions that we would like to answer, we'd like to.
Any questions?
Not necessarily a question, just really an appreciation from both organizations and really taking this next step of allowing trained, competent paramedics in the Jefferson City Fire Department to go through your organization's processes to meet the training requirements for them to allow the use of license. I think it's a great benefit for the whole community. So thank you for your willingness to open that up. I know in the past that's been maybe a little bit of a difficult bridge to cross. So thank you again.
Yeah. So, as Councilman mentioned, our agencies continue to grow and operate in the most efficient manner possible. This is just the logical next step to delivering optimal patient care to those experiencing critical medical emergencies. Anytime that you can deploy more resources more quickly, it leads to a better efficiency of patient care. So we're excited to continue to grow our organizations together through joint training, and which will allow us to deliver that next level or higher level of patient care to the citizens of Jefferson City.
Thank you very much. Do we have an action?
Vote to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Lester, Mealy, Schwartz,
Aye.
Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer, Wiseman,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Allers,
Aye.
Deacon,
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Right, item 15, presentations. I don't think we have any. 16, council staff discussion. Item 17, new business. Item A, July 3rd, city council meeting. We are currently scheduled at the first Monday of July. Councilwoman Wise.
Mayor, I'll just kick this off and move to dispense of our July 3rd city council meeting.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'll make a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Hensley?
I guess this will be my 6th year. I am routinely unavailable for that particular meeting, and if memory serves, it's normally one where it's difficult to get a quorum, or we have multiple people absent anyhow, one way or another, and sometimes it's just not possible to zoom in from wherever you might be. So, and also, with respect to staff time, it's not just the 11 of us who are elected sitting here. It takes a big team of staff to put this together, to put each meeting together also, and just around the time of that holiday, I think it's in everyone's best interest to cancel that first meeting.
I echo all of those sentiments. I think the only thing that you might not have mentioned is that our attendance or input from the community seems to be very low at that time, unless they're here for the parade or something. And so I think it's important to maintain that community involvement and make sure that's at the highest level as possible.
Well, just the background, and I appreciate the motion. Mr. Molman and I did discuss it, and we did talk about, do we bounce it back a week? With July being a very heavy travel month, we felt like council may have already made plans for that week of July the 10th. So I think this motion makes a lot of sense. We probably need to do a roll call vote on this, or?
Yeah, on the resolution. Oh, no, sorry. This is not a resolution. But yes, still.
Is there any other comments or questions? The motion is to dispense with. Does someone have?
I'm just going to echo the comment that, I'm sure the staff will be very busy with all the activities we have in Jeff City, and have them come in for roughly an hour or so if they need to be on call or out. All the activities good. It would be just well enough to know they didn't have to report in, and we didn't have to be here, because I know I'll be traveling at that time too.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Mealy, Schwartz,
Aye.
Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer, Wiseman,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Allers,
Aye.
Deacon,
Aye.
Hensley,
Aye.
Lester. Motion passes to cancel.
Right. Need to approve closed session minutes. You'll also need action on the May 15th closed session minutes.
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, takes us to closed session. I do believe we have an item, so we'll need to officially go into close. We need to read the
Pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri, the chair will entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss the following: attorney-client privilege, section 610.021 subsection. Is there a motion?
You need a motion to close the regular session and then vote. We don't need to do that.
we will. Yeah.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Okay.
I second that.
All right, we got a motion to go into second. Let's do a roll call vote.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer. Wiseman.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Allers.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Lester. Mealy. Motion passes.
So we doing it in this room?
I think this is fine, yeah.
Couple-minute recess.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Yeah. I apologize if I get back to you.